Hello and welcome back to my level building series. Today I am going to be working on the modern part, which is this part right here. In the last episode I made this glow part, so I'm looking forward to making something I'm a bit more familiar with. So the first thing I'd like to do is outline this. I'm going to do this in an optimized way by scaling them up. There's my first outline. And here we go, outlined. I can just delete all these, and then we have some basic structures. I'm going to search one of my old levels, just for a little bit of inspiration. So I'm going to play this. It's a level I haven't played in a very long time. So this is the part that I'm looking at. I kind of like these block designs. I don't want it to be rainbowy because there's a rainbow part, but something like this would work. Something like this, however, would not. Oh, brilliant, there's a stolen version. Yeah, it's the same thing. I think I'm going to one-up my part and make every single section move. So first things first is just laying the default blocks out. So I can just simply add one of these to a group, 497, put move trigger down and put it on 497, and I don't need to tamper with this yet. Then I can select both, copy and paste it, and build helper. And this is all I need to do for all of these structures. So that's done. These have been laid out with their corresponding groups. I'll also need a base layer, so I can go here and just scale this up and then move that down. And I'll just do that with all of these. This way, when they're moving onto the screen, the blocks won't be hollow. Good. And then I can currently just put these on copy color background. Right, so I want to set up the movements now. First things first is to move these off of the screen. Then I can change these to have a better move time than just 0.5. So I think 1.5 might be quite nice. The movement I'm doing is a combination of exponential in and out. So if I try and move these up 50, then they'll only go up around 47. So I want them to fill the structure and not overlap. So if you move them a quarter space, then they should line up pretty well. I'm going to move these back, have these bottom ones go Y plus 50, and then the top ones minus 50, and then change this to exponential out. Now I've copied and pasted these, moved them up by 2, and I put exponential in, and then do the opposite of the movements. This should look like a pretty clean movement. Here we go. That's pretty good. This is a very simple process. It's a bit tedious. This is going to be one that I'll time lapse. All I need to do is copy and paste, move it up a layer, and then move it to the side. So I'm going to move these back a bit and get to work. Actually, before I do that, I probably should establish my colors. So I will move these to the side, build helper, and move them up a layer, and move them up a Z order as well. But I need to find a color combination, and I think pink and green is the obvious one. I'm going to make these hue 180, then select all of them and just make myself a nice green. That'll do for now. I can definitely change that later. I also think it should go back to black, and then it should go to the opposite of this color, which would be about there. Then it can go white, green, black, pink. Now I just need to move these all back into their original spots, and this should work. That's looking pretty clean. I think I might add 1 or 2 more layers to this. There are the extra layers. Yeah, that looks much better. I'd like to do a similar effect with this saws. So I'm going to select all these saws. I'll add these to a new layer. I'm going to make these color 1 and then custom them and make them nice and slow. Copy and paste them, scale, lock scale, and then move them down ever so slightly. Then if I go to pause, they should line up, and to line them up even better, I shall just rotate them slightly. I realized I forgot to change the color of the center ones, so I want black. I want to copy values and pop a circle inside of it, base state paste color, and then just scale it so it covers these ugly little blurry bits. This is an effect that I haven't tried before, so this might not work. However, I'm going to move one of each saw up past all these move triggers. Then I'm going to separate the layers. And I think this will be better if I'm not in preview mode. I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to go about doing this. So I'm going to copy and paste these and move them down. And then change the Z order. And then add them to the first group that moves in. Then I'm going to add that to 700. I'm already on 700. I'm at part 2. Then I'm going to add that to 701 and that to 702. Then go over to scale, do 700. We don't need a center group luckily. 701, 702. And actually I will put them underneath Good. These are going to go 0.001 on both sides with no duration. Then I'm going to copy and paste them, move them to the side a little bit, and then go 100 and 100. Then I can add a duration and put it in exponential out, and then move them to the side by 2 and down a bit, and then go 0.001 again, and then exponential in. And an easy way of testing this is to just add these to my custom objects, save and exit, then make a new level, paste them in, and see what it looks like. So that's what I was going for. I need to move these back a bit more. That's good. Lovely. That's the exact movement that I want. This should be fairly simple from here on out then. I just need to move that back, and then all of them back a little bit, like that. Probably should link all these together, so they're together, they're together, they're together. Now I'm going to move these across, build helper, move up by 1, and then I want to change the colour to the second colour of the blocks. Then just keep repeating this process, build helper, up by 1, and again. This is currently looking like a massive mess. I've managed to get into these move triggers, so I should probably move these out of the way. And I probably should also move the scale triggers out of the way. Then I can just select these, move them back, select these, move them back, select these, and move them back, and so on. Theoretically, if I move these on top of each other, this should create an effect. However, I'm going to save and exit, copy that, and then go back onto my original one. And now I'm going to try it. I definitely should select all of these, and all of these, and all of these. And then I can just move them back nice and far. I also really should have separated these. The 700s, and then the 705s, and then the 707s. I don't really have to, it's just a way of making it a bit quicker and a bit more organised. Especially if I mess something up slightly, that will be catastrophic. So it's worth my time doing this. There we go. Let's work out which ones are which. So that's the 700 and 705. Then I'm guessing this is the 701. Yep, okay, good. I'm actually going to delete all this that I did. Now I need to select the first ones. I just need to move this down. I want to change the layer. And I'll just move it in, copy and paste. Build helper. Right, this is the moment of truth. If this looks good, then it's worked. Oh, that looks so good, but I've put them in the wrong parts. Right, so I need to undo all of that. Then I need to select it again. What would I do without build helper? Now it's the moment of truth. That's looking good. I'm happy with that. It's overly complicated. Let's do the tiny ones now. Has this worked? It has. Incredibly well. Now I just need to move this one into place and I'm done with the saws. Then I have everything else to make. And there we go. What a mess of triggers. I'm going to make a background that I've already made before in a build swap video. I'm not going to re-say how to do it. I'm just going to do it. It's very, very simple. Okay, I have made it. I quite like it. It's pretty simple, but it's good. I feel like I kind of want to do what I did for the saws with the spikes. That might get quite laggy because that's a lot of scaling. And also that's incredibly tedious. I might not. So I'll just select all the spikes and then make the detail black and then select all the other spikes and do the same. It's probably a smarter way of doing things. Yeah, I think that just looks fine. They're the basic assets. So now I need to add air deco, ground spikes, loads of things. So ground spikes I might keep nice and simple. I'm just going to make these white and then swipe them along. And then I'll add some details to them later. So now annoyingly I need to come up with some arrows. I'm not very good at arrows. I think keeping everything simple is probably going to be very beneficial with all this moving around. I think the best thing to do is potentially just use these. Then I can make them a little more interesting in a second. Right, so I've placed all of these around. All I need to do is select these, add them to white, then move them across and then down a Z layer. Put it in green, then up, same Z layer is fine, and put it into the pink. That works. I might move these back, then scale them and move them down, and then just put them in the black. That should give them a little bit more depth. Yeah, that looks a bit better. Cool. I want these to very slightly move. I'm going to select every other one, add them to a group, and then select every other one again and add those to a group. We have 764 and 765. I'm going to go up into an empty space free of triggers. There are so many triggers. Then I'm just going to add a move trigger, move it by 2, and then maybe 1. I don't think that's particularly necessary. Make that 0.4. Easy and out, 764. Copy and paste that, do the opposite. Then copy and paste both of these, move it down and flip it and add it to the next group. Now I can select them all, create loop, and then change this timing to 0.4, and that should be my loop done. There we go, my loop is done. I'm going to change the 2 to a 1 on both of these because I'm not a huge fan of how far it moves. So that looks a bit more subtle, that's much better. I also want to just move this up by a little bit, that'll do. That's good. I'm going to continue the theme of these. I'm actually going to use the same movement. It's going to be very easy to do. All I need to do is place one of these, place 2 of these, select them all, warp. Then I can look for the group of this, so it's in 494 and then 496 toggles. So I want to be in 494. Then I want to go to a new one and make a low opacity black. That looks good. I move down to B4 and then go quite high up on B4. Then I want to layer over the top of these. Before I copy and paste them around, I want to add these to a new group, 768. Copy and paste, move along, copy and paste, move along. Right, now I can add my new ones. I think that'll do for the new ones. So 768 is going to be my toggle on group for all of this. In order for it to toggle on, it needs to be off in the first place. And fingers crossed this works. It does, except the movement for 494 needs to move a bit longer. So if I do 300 and then I can just double the time, so 12.08. This should be a pretty clean transition. There we go. That's nice. Let's add some designs to this. I think I could use this again. Just something pretty interesting. I don't really use at all. Just copy and paste these around a little bit. That'll do for those. Maybe add a spike or 2 into this. So that's the right colour. Good. Nice and simple. And then I want 1 or 2 more assets. I think the next asset I'm going to do is copy the values of this and then push that into its place. There we go. One last thing, and I don't know what I want. I think a subtle little saw could go down a treat. There we go, 1 and 1. I think that bit's nice and crowded already. I'm going to just move it over to this one, and then copy and paste and flip it, and then move it up elsewhere. Excellent. It looks like a mess in the editor, but as soon as you play it and there's a ground covering it, I think that should look fine. And I believe I was right. Looks good enough. I think a nice idea would be to invert the colours every now and again. So I'm just quickly going here and pasting these in, and then I can copy and paste and then just change that to 13 and then that back to 15. I will sync this to the music. I think this part's ready, so get ready for the showcase. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you in the next one. Bye!